I know. Okay. Thank you. Okay, thank you very much, everybody, for coming out to another session of the House Committee on Finance this afternoon. We've got a full house of things to do, and we are about to get started. I want to welcome you to the House Finance Committee meeting. Now, this is a continuation of the hearing and agenda that began on Tuesday, March 23rd. We're here to take testimony from those witnesses who already had signed up for the bills on that agenda. We had hundreds of people, but not everyone got a chance to testify. At last week's hearing, Charter School had an extra accommodation given to the governor, and we do that sometimes with governors and other officials during their testimony on this bill, one of the bills, 5193. But today we will reciprocate and give extra time to 5 other experts at the beginning of the hearing. After that testimony, we will move to the general witness list, and this is really most important. Each caller will be allowed to speak for 1 minute. With over 400 calls to make, we want to hear from everyone on that list that we can today. We also want to remind everyone that there are still witnesses on other bills other than 5193. So we ask for you, when you do get a chance to speak, to be concise and to be patient. And to remember, this is 2 bites at the same apple, because you're having some verbal testimony, as we do in most committees, and also the opportunity to have sent us written testimony, and still have an opportunity to do that. So everybody's perspectives are needed, and everybody's perspectives are read or looked at, but you get a chance to give a pretty concise version of that if you want to testify by voice. We're striving to accommodate all of the witnesses. Fortunately for us, we have Rep. Carlos Tabone and Rep. Grace Diaz, who are fluent in Spanish. And we also have staffers who will assist. So we do have some assistance for people who do speak Spanish. Now, lastly, it's very, very important that you turn down your television or computer once you are called, because there's a time delay to the TV and computer. It's best if you just listen to your phone. Once you're greeted by the chair, you'll be allowed to speak for 1 minute. A chimer will ring at 45 seconds, alerting you to wrap it up. Again, you have 2 bites at the apple, and the verbal testimony is just as important as the others, but we have 400 people we have to accommodate. If we do not get done, we'll still continue until we do get done. We will do our best, but we do ask all of you to please do your best to try to help your neighbor out in that. And I think at this point, we'll have a translation of what I just said.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Buenas tardes, este es el Comité de Finanzas. Hoy es martes 31 del 2021. Le acaba de hablar el presidente del Comité de Finanzas. Queremos darle la bienvenida a este comité hoy como una continuación de la audiencia pública para el día de hoy. Nosotros estamos aquí para oír los testimonios de ustedes y ya tenemos una agenda lista para oír eso, donde más de cientos de personas están dispuestas a proveer su testimonio. La semana pasada oímos una audiencia pública de la escuela de Charter y queremos acomodar para que otras personas tengan la oportunidad de testificar en el bill, en la legislación 5193. Hoy vamos a tener la oportunidad primero de darle a 5 miembros de la Unión, líderes expertos en estos asuntos, para que hablen primero. Después de esos testimonios vamos a movernos a oír en la lista de las personas que han firmado para testificar a favor o en contra de esta legislación. Tenemos más de 400 llamadas y queremos hacer énfasis que queremos darle la oportunidad a todos. Si en algún momento usted tiene también que ser testigo y hablar en otro bill que no sea el 5193, aproveche la oportunidad, pero tenga paciencia. Nosotros queremos acomodarlos a todos. Nosotros queremos que cada testimonio tenga el mismo valor y el mismo atención que merecen todos. Tenemos la fortuna de que tenemos a su representante Grace Díaz y al representante Carlos Tabón, que son fluidos en español, como ustedes pueden ver. Y por último, queremos también decirle que si están cerca de su televisor, su teléfono o cualquier otro equipo que pueda hacer sonido, por favor bajar el volumen cuando tengan que hablar. Ustedes van a oír una pequeña campanita que le va a indicar que tienen 45 minutos para terminar lo que están hablando y que deben sintetizar esa oración que en ese momento están dando. De nuevo, muchas gracias por participar, y si tenemos que cortar la reunión de hoy, nosotros buscaremos otro día para acomodar las necesidades y oírlos a todos. Como les dijimos, muchas gracias por estar en el Comité de Finanzas. Gracias.
Thank you so much, Representative Diaz. I couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks. Okay, Mr. Clerk, would you please call the roll, please?
Certainly. Chairman Abney,
Present.
Vice Chair Slater,
Present.
Vice Chair Mazurkowski,
Present.
Representative Amore,
Present.
Representative Baginski, Representative Barrows, Representative Diaz,
Here.
Representative Edwards,
Present.
Representative Hull,
Present.
Representative Nadone,
Present.
Representative O'Brien,
Here.
Representative Quattrucci, Representative Ruggiero,
Present.
Representative Tabone, Representative Ella Wilkinson.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Clerk. I think without further ado, then we'll get started on the testimony part of the evening, and we will take our first caller.
Hello. Hello.
Hello. Just identify yourself and begin. Is this Frank?
Yeah, it's Jim Liebman.
Oh, Jim? Okay.
So good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. I'm Jim Liebman, professor of law at Columbia University. Can you hear me?
I can, yes.
And public education, governance, and finance are primary research areas. Recently, I examined the fiscal impact of charter schools in states like Rhode Island with academically high-performing charter schools. And as detailed in my statement that I filed with the committee, I made 6 findings. First, Rhode Island charter schools operate with less public per-pupil funding than Rhode Island school districts, substantially less when facilities costs are factored in. Second, Rhode Island charter school students academically outperform comparable students in district schools by some of the largest differentials in the U.S. Third, existing Rhode Island law takes 9 separate steps to keep charter schools from adversely affecting school districts' per-pupil funding. As a result, each student who moves from a district to a charter school leaves behind more than 12% of the local funding the district otherwise would have spent on that child for the district to spend on its remaining students. Charter schools receive less funding per pupil than district schools, while increasing per pupil funding for district students. Fourth, the Department of Education in Rhode Island has limited the effect of charter growth on districts' aggregate budgets to less than 1% in the first year and less than 8% over the entire 3 to 13-year period during which new charter schools and expansions phase in. And RIDE's method has actually overstated charter growth's actual aggregate effect on district budgets. That is, they've turned out to have less effect than RIDE had predicted. Fifth, on average, Rhode Island charter schools take more than their share of low-income and MLL students for whom they don't receive full funding, which adds to the comparative underfunding of charter schools and further increases districts' per-pupil funding. Sixth, Rhode Island law currently limits charter schools' fiscal impact on districts more comprehensively and more effectively than any other state in the U.S. with strong charter schools.
You have about another minute, sir.
Yeah, just to conclude, one sentence more. Because Rhode Island charter schools increase per pupil funding for district students and achieve higher academic performance for their own, especially their low-income and MLL students, Rhode Island's investment in charter schools is fiscally and academically prudent for all students. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony, sir. We really appreciate it. Okay, ready for the next caller?
Use 3 people on.
Is out of order.
Okay, George?
Yes. Mr. Chairman, am I on?
Yes, you are, sir.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
My name is George Nee. I am the president of the Rhode Island AFL-CIO, and thank you for your time this afternoon. I am here to enthusiastically support the legislation introduced by Representative O'Brien for a moratorium on the charter schools and mayoral academies that are before us at this time. I think this is an excellent time to pause and really review what is happening to our educational system, our public educational system, as a result of the increase in the charter schools and mayoral academies. Specifically, this moratorium would give us a time to review certain inequities and injustices that exist. For example, the mayoral academies in particular are not paying into the pension system. They are not subject to the prevailing wage issues that the charter schools apply to. An awful lot of money is going to out-of-state networks, specifically in the situation with Achievement First. I understand it might be up to $700,000 that is going out of state, and we have another charter school or mayoral academy network, XL, that's coming in from Massachusetts. We also should take this time to review how much administrative costs the sending committees are allowed to keep. We have a commitment, and the labor movement has always had a commitment to a strong public education system. We believe that the mayoral academy charter schools are undermining and dismantling that system, and this is an opportunity for us to stop, put a moratorium in effect, and review what's happening to see what is in the best interest of the public and particularly our students. Thank you very much for your time this afternoon.
Thank you very much for your input, George. I appreciate that. Have a great day now.
You too, sir.
We have sound. Okay. Who do we have now, please? Hello?
Hi, it's Franklin.
Okay, Frank, you're on, young man.
All right. Thank you very much, Chairman Abney. On behalf of the Rhode Island Federation of Teachers, I ask you to support House Bill 5193, introduced by Representative O'Brien. We urge you to pass this bill, and I believe that passage of this bill is about saving educational opportunities for over 20,000 public school students from Providence, Central Falls, and North Providence, who will have their schools' resources slashed to fund the creation and expansion of these charters. Contrary to the propaganda being pushed by pro-charter groups, this bill will protect the majority of students of every race or ethnicity who remain in our public community schools from having services and programs reduced until the funding of all public schools can be adjusted in an equitable manner. And first and foremost, this issue is about money and resources for all students. Our charter proponents may want you to focus on some parents who want choice, but I need you to consider the learning conditions for students in community schools. The recently approved expansion will cause public school funding for 5,500 students to leave Providence schools alone. Central Falls, a district which is already underfunded, will lose critical resources as well. Providence currently has about 20% of its students attending charter schools. Next year alone, they'll have to divert an additional $11 million in tuition payments for the 591 students that will go to these new or expanded charters. Previous testimony on this issue revealed that Providence will have to cut about $80 to $100 million to fund these approvals if they go through when they're brought to scale. And it's astonishing that the officials in Providence have no plan on how to handle that reduction of over $80 million in school funding. And we believe that it's exceptionally unfair and dishonest to the community not to reveal what neighborhood schools will close or what educational programs will be curtailed to make up for those budget cuts caused by the expansion. There is no plan. And when local charter school district funding is required to cover tuition payments, the districts do not save that amount of money. These are called stranded costs, and those costs are between 35 to 55% of per pupil expenditure. It must also be noted that charter schools typically enroll a significant lower percentage of special needs students. And what's most stunning is that the recent K-12 Council approval took place in the middle of a global and economic crisis. There's such uncertainty about school funding, so it's incomprehensible that the K-12 Council would approve this. And while the American Recovery Act will bring additional much-needed resources to our state, that money is designed to supplement, not support the existing programs, and will not offset the structural deficit this expansion will create. In closing, I just want to say that the critics allege that this bill is undoing what the K-12 Council has already done. The Assembly has always had the fiscal authority over charter expansions. Public schools do not use a lottery system. Our community schools are legally and morally required to educate every student who comes through the door, no matter what impact the increased attendance will have on the educational opportunities of the student body. So supporting a 3-year pause on charter expansion protects tens of thousands of students in our neighborhood schools whose education and funding programs are jeopardized by reckless charter expansion. And I urge you to support HB 5193, which protects the education of all of the students in our community public schools. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Frank. We appreciate that. Okay, next up.
Patrick Crowley.
Do we have Pat on the line yet? Hi, Pat.
Mr. Chairman, how are you?
Not too bad. You're on the line, young man.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Patrick Crowley on behalf of the 12,000 members of the National Education Association of Rhode Island. Thank you for this opportunity to testify. Let me begin with a positive statement and thank Governor McKee for, in his proposed budget, for increasing the amount of aid to local schools to $911 million this upcoming in his proposed budget. Unfortunately, the sad reality is that despite that positive step forward, that money is basically equivalent in today's dollars to what the state paid in public education in 2003. Now, at the same time as public schools had their budgets frozen and cut, especially in response to the financial crisis of 2008, which saw public school aid drop by 20%, charter school aid during that time period increased by 33%. And now, I only reference that not as a point of confrontation or competition between these schools. I raise it because some of the advocates against this bill have made the case that this is only about school choice. It's not. It's about creating a parallel school system, one of which has been given resources to complete their mission, and another school system, the traditional public school system, that has had their resources cut and cut and cut. Now, over the last 15 years, the status quo is punishing traditional public schools while embracing charter schools. The status quo has been multiple changes and testing regimes. The status quo has been multiple times when teachers and school staff have seen their jobs eliminated and people fired, while charter schools have been embraced by certain elements of the educational community. It's time to pause on charter schools so that we can recalibrate how we pay for them, how we can redistribute the resources equally and equitably between the systems, so that one system doesn't punish another system. So on behalf of NEA Rhode Island, we fully support Representative O'Brien's Bill 5193. Thank you for your consideration, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you for your testimony, Pat. It's always great. Thank you. Okay, next up. Hi, is this Mary Beth?
Yes, it is.
How you doing, Mary Beth? You're on.
I'm fine. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mary Beth Calabro, and I'm the president of the Providence Teachers Union, and I'm a proud 26-year veteran teacher in Providence Public Schools. I represent more than 1,900 educators and support professionals within those schools. I would like to thank you for this opportunity to share my concerns with you on the charter in enforcing the charter moratorium. Over the past 2 years, we have heard about the struggles and ills of Providence Public Schools, which is currently under state control. The PTU membership, while cautious, was hopeful that we would be part of a significant and historical turnaround of our schools. Despite the turnaround track record across the country, we wanted a seat at the table and we wanted to be part of the solution. However, that has not happened. Instead, we find ourselves here at what we can only hope is at the tail end of a worldwide pandemic, and ask that we not inflict any further harm on our students, families, schools, and teachers by expanding charters. This past year has been nothing short of a tragedy, with lost lives, illnesses, shutdowns, lost instructional time, separation, and fear due to the pandemic. Yet despite all that, teachers, students, and families flipped traditional education to a new and uncharted territory within a week. By all accounts, they did a remarkable job doing so. With that, I ask why, at this critical time in our city, state, and country's history, are we looking to expand charters which will further devastate an already fragile and fiscally unsound city? Charters will not further everyone's education. It will only further the fortunate few who hit the quote-unquote lottery. It will stand to deepen and widen the chasm that already exists between true public education and charter. We will be creating two parallel systems of public schools, which have been seen across the country as to drive to the point of bankruptcy when charterized systems have been brought into disenfranchised and disadvantaged communities. Over the next 5 years, the expansion of charters in Rhode Island estimates to be $217 million and $27 million in unrecoverable costs in the 2022 fiscal school year alone. The fiscal impact will be felt across the state, not just in Providence and Central Falls. And over 23% of the fiscal 21 K-12 education budget has already been allocated to charters. Beyond the devastating fiscal impact it will have, it will also send a clear message that the leadership in this state has given up on the two districts that are most in crisis, and that they have been given up on the very turnaround plan that was lauded for the meaningful reforms to serve generations to come. Disrupting and destabilizing schools in the wake of a pandemic harkens back to post-Katrina New Orleans, when the crisis was used to dismantle public education and privatize the city school system. That is not what Rhode Island is about. That is not who we are. We do not take advantage of a crisis. We collaborate in ways to support and assist one another. And all of our students and their families need that support, not just the chosen few or the lucky ones. Our collective focus should be on supporting, transforming the public schools that will serve the remaining students who deserve to have world-class schools as well. In true schools, we educate all students. There's no selection process, no lottery, no interviews to see if the child is a good fit. Research across the country has showed that charters aggressively screen student applicants. In California, 25% of charters include students of color, according to the ACLU. Senator Bell, our own senator here in Rhode Island, wrote a scathing opinion piece on his score of achievement first in their disciplinary practices, counseling out students. So to that end, I know I've run out of time, so I'd just like to thank you for your consideration and appreciate your time and ask for, in order for Providence Schools to serve as richly diverse students, that we put this charter moratorium in place and support it with the full council. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mary Beth. Okay, we're on to Tracy. Tracy, you're on the line.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Tracy Cavanaugh, and I am a special educator in the Central Falls School District and the Central Falls Teachers Union President. I am speaking in favor of House Bill 5193, Charter School Moratorium. In the past 31 years that I have been teaching in the Central Falls School District, I have seen our traditional public school system struggle financially due to the continued approval to expand charters in the state of Rhode Island. Charters drain desperately needed funding from our neighborhood public schools. The city of Central Falls is 1 square mile and is already impacted by 11 charter schools. Nearly $4 million will be budgeted for charter school tuitions this year. The traditional public schools are financially struggling to provide an equal and quality education for students due to the severe financial impact caused by the current charters. This financial impact has had a programmatic impact on the Central Falls School District. Central Falls High School has limited electives due to financial restraints. They no longer offer business electives, 2D and 3D art classes, or drama. And unfortunately, our students don't have an option to explore journalism and media studies, financial planning, or playing an instrument in a band. The financial impact that charter schools have had has also limited our resources for our needier populations. Resource and inclusion teaching positions have been cut in half, which has resulted in reduced support for our needier students. And guidance positions have been cut at a time when we should be increasing social emotional support. Charter schools state that they accept all students and entrance is a lottery process. They don't speak about their requests for test scores or interviews that take place with parents and students. The traditional public schools accept all students, no matter what their needs may be, no matter what amount of schooling they may have had. Charter schools do not. I ask you to support your traditional public schools. Give us the support both financially and publicly that our students deserve. I ask that you pass House Bill 5193, Charter School Moratorium. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Tracy. We appreciate your time. I'd like to make an announcement for everyone out. Please turn your radios or TVs down when you start talking on the phone, because we're getting a reverb here in the studio. So when you pick up your phone, please turn down your television or your radio and just use your phone.
Mr. Chairman, let me translate that.
Yes.
The chairman, el presidente del comité, está preguntándoles que por favor apaguen sus radios, teléfono, para que no interfiera el sonido cuando están testificando. Oímos un sonido en la parte de atrás de las llamadas y queremos que cuando ustedes hablen podamos escucharlo bien.
Thank you so much. And again, I could not say it better. Thank you. I appreciate it, Grace. Okay, next up is Mayor Elorza.
Speaking. Good to be on here with you, Chairman.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Good to have you here, sir.
It's great to be here, and thank you for the consideration, Chairman. I also want to thank all the members of the committee, and in particular members of the Providence delegation. I'm here to speak in opposition to Bill H5193. And I speak today not only as a mayor of Providence, but I also speak today as a product of Providence's public schools. I've seen the best of what schools can do, and I've also seen the worst. I'm a product of one of the best public schools in the country, but I've also seen friends full of talent and incredible abilities fall through the cracks, see them never develop their potential, and I've seen their lives go off in bad directions. Education, when it's done right, is the great equalizer in society. But when it's done wrong, it's also the greatest perpetuator of inequality in society. I ask everyone to please put aside all theory and ideology, and let's just look at the facts. We have a system that is continually failing our families and perpetuating the inequality that we need to address. If the state limits the expansion of charter schools, either going forward or retroactively, you are actively making the decision to send the lowest income kids to the lowest performing schools. But it doesn't have to be that way. And in fact, it isn't that way for those with money. Families with means exercise choice every single day. They move to districts with better schools, they send their kids to private schools, or they make other arrangements. But the reality is that we have an education system where both literally and figuratively, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. But low-income families, most of whom are black and brown in our city, aren't getting it anymore. Just like families with means, they want choices and they deserve choices. A recent report by the Latino Policy Institute found that 63% of Latinos in our state want more charter schools, while only 10% want less. A recent vote of the African American Ambassador Group resulted in over 75% of voices in the black community opposing the moratorium on charter schools. In this moment, when society's eyes have been opened to structural racism and inequality, we can't stand in the way of charter schools, which are the most successful and effective interventions to achieve progressive results, turning around generational poverty, addressing economic inequality, and eliminating structural racism. Please listen to the voices of black and brown folks. Give them more choices, not less. And let's remember that charter schools are public schools in every shape and form. They are free, they have public boards, and they are publicly accountable. You can support public schools by supporting charter schools. So the question becomes, which public schools should we invest more in? Should we invest more in the ones that are failing our kids and have done so for generations? Or should we invest more in the ones that are offering hope and helping to break cycles of poverty? Should we support the ones that parents are choosing not to send their kids to? Or should we support the ones with overflowing wait lists? Currently, we have too many families that are crying in anguish and despair, losing hope because there are not enough seats available at these high-performing public schools. Please do not make it harder for poor kids and black and brown folks to get ahead. I ask you to also oppose this bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We really appreciate your comments, coming from Providence and your experience in the school system there. Okay, now, and I may need a little translation on this. I think that takes care of when a bill is introduced, and this is important to know, the sponsor of that bill is usually not always the expert in every means. So that means that that bill sponsor can have people that will explain the bill more in depth and in detail. We all do that. And so that's part of what we just saw, except for the last comment. So we're going to now move into what we call the public witnessed comments. These are the ones where we still have 400 people that we've got to talk to and deal with, but these are the ones where you're going to be limited to a minute. So please be concise and please be ready when the phone is ringing for you. But we're going to go from the introduction of the bill and a few comments to now public comments, which are important for us. If my good friend Grace Diaz could do me the honor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. El presidente del comité quiere que las personas que van a hablar a continuación, que son personas que hablan español o de los dos idiomas, Recuerden que este bill fue introducido por una persona y que esta persona no necesariamente es el experto y que va a haber personas que pueden explicar esas partes que el sponsor a lo mejor no pueda. Recordémosle a todos que tenemos alrededor de 800 testimonios y que queremos que ustedes sean concisos y precisos y usen el tiempo que se les da. Se les va a llamar y si no responden, lamentablemente vamos a continuar con la lista. Así que recuerden que va a haber un sonido recordándole que su tiempo ya está terminando y que deben finalizar. Muchas gracias. Empezamos con la lista ahora.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Okay. We're now off to the public comments. You're on. Please identify yourself and you have a minute, please.
Okay, my name is Juan. I'm a resident of Warwick, Rhode Island, and I urge the committee to reject H5193 because parents and students should have access to choice in education. By doing so, Rhode Island children can have access to the best future they possibly can. Rhode Island needs to put their best foot forward and fix the broken education system now. Thank you.
Thank you, Juan. We appreciate your comment, sir. Okay, next. You're on, please. State your name and your comment.
Good evening, Chairman Abney and members of the committee. My name is Pam Mchugh, nurse and CEO of the Rhode Island Nurses Institute Middle College, a charter school in Providence that is training the next generation of nurses and healthcare workers. Everyone agrees that our main goal is to provide every student with the best possible education. I oppose House Bill 5193 because it denies students a chance at the best possible education. Charter schools give students a chance that they wouldn't otherwise have. And in the case of my school, a chance to become a nurse or a healthcare professional. Rhine was created in 2011 as a solution to the lack of diversity of the Rhode Island nursing workforce and to address the projected shortage of registered nurses. We are the only approved nursing CTE program in the States. We provide hands-on learning experiences and our students earn college credit. In fact, Rhine is the top school in the state for students earning healthcare workforce credentials and college credits by high school graduation. Rhine graduates and students have been on the front lines during the pandemic and working in clinics and vaccines. If the pandemic has showed us anything, it's the need for nurses and healthcare professionals. Please do not support House Bill 5193. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments. Appreciate that. Next up. You're on, please. Just state your name and your position.
Hi, yes. My name's Kristen, and I'm a resident of Warwick. I'm testifying today because H5193 will simply diminish the right of choice for Rhode Island families in terms of education. Parents and students shouldn't have to sacrifice their future, and I'm choosing to be on the right side of history today. Therefore, I strongly urge this committee to reject H5193 and instead invest in a system that includes district and high-quality public charter schools to ensure that Rhode Island children can access the best future they possibly can. Again, I'd like to testify that I strongly oppose H5193 in hopes of a better future for Rhode Island. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. Okay, next. Hello, you're on House Finance. Please identify yourself and your position.
Yes, Rosie E. Porras. Soy proveedora de Providence. Hace 15 años he tenido la oportunidad de ver la diferencia de una escuela pública y una charter school. 2 hermanos estuvieron en mi cuidado desde los 2 y 3 años hasta el grado 8. No tenían motivación de aprender, iban a la escuela porque los padres lo enviaban. Es una pena verlos que ya están en el 7 y 8 grado y apenas leen y lo que leen no entienden. Peor resolver problemas de matemática. Hoy mismo tengo una niña de 9 años que empezó en mi cuidado y está en Achievement First. La diferencia es enorme y ahora mismo ha sido nombrada honor roll.
Señora,
Muy adelante.
señora, ¿puedes comenzar de nuevo? Bienvenido al Comité de Finanzas. Solamente me puedes dar el espacio para traducir al comité de lo que estás diciendo, por favor. ¿Comenzar de nuevo?
Sí.
Ok.
Sí. ¿Cuándo tengo que parar?
Me das un espacio entre lo que estás diciendo y te voy a traducir en inglés. Yo te voy a decir, ¿ok?
Ya.
Ok. Adelante.
Mi nombre es Rosie Porras, soy proveedora de 15 años en Providence. He tenido...
Ahí está. My name is Rosie Porra. I've been a provider here in Rhode Island for some time. Ok, puedes continuar.
He tenido la oportunidad de ver la diferencia de una escuela pública y una charter school.
I've had the opportunity to see the differences between a charter and a public school. Continúa.
2 hermanos estuvieron en mi cuidado desde los 2 y 3 años hasta el grado 8.
And since a very young age, I've had 2 young brothers being taken care of since a very early age. Puedes continuar.
Hasta el grado 8. Es una pena verlos que ya están en el grado 8 y apenas leen y no entienden lo que leen.
Okay. And it's a great concern for myself to see that they're in 8th grade currently and they still have a great difficulty in reading. Puedes continuar.
No pueden resolver un problema de matemática.
They cannot even resolve a mathematical problem.
Yeah. Hoy en día tengo una niña que va a Achievement First.
¿Puedes terminar lo que estás diciendo para
okay. Va a Achievement
tu punto,
First.
vamos a decir.
Tiene 9 años y la diferencia es enorme. Ahora mismo está nombrada para Honor Roll y la niña es totalmente diferente.
And she has a young girl who's leading towards residency and still having difficulties in what she's learning right now, despite her high achievements.
Yeah. Por favor, por favor, piensen en los niños y que los políticos estén fuera del círculo escolar. Ellos necesitan una mejor educación.
She just wanted to mark the difference that she's been getting in the education at a charter school, and she just wants to request that people consider the children and their education, and how they're going to proceed from this point forward is very important.
Tell her thanks for her testimony, but we do have to move on.
Tienen que continuar, señora, pero muchas gracias por tu testimonio. Ellos dicen.
Muchas gracias. Ya,
que tengan buen día. Adiós.
Gracias. Okay. Next up. Great. Please state your name and your position, please.
Hi. Thank you, Chairman and members of the committee, for your time this afternoon. My name is Hanna Stern. I'm testifying on behalf of the ACLU of Rhode Island. I have 3 pieces of legislation that I'm commenting on today. Is it okay if I do all 3 of those?
Yes, please.
All right, great. Thank you. I'll take 2 of them first, and then I'll do the last one after those. So I'll start with H 5367 and 6029. The ACLU is opposed to H 5367 and highly supportive of H 6029. These are the 2 pieces of legislation which concern SROs in schools. In just the past year, our organization has actually filed 2 lawsuits on behalf of students who experience really violent and explicitly unlawful actions at the hands of their SROs. The redefinition of normal adolescent behaviors into matters of criminal justice by SROs is harmful for students, and it's harmful for our communities, but it's especially harmful for marginalized students such as BIPOC students or students with disabilities or LGBTQ students who are most disparately harmed by disciplinary and enforcement protocol in schools already. So that is really why the financial incentivization to hire social workers, as 6029 provides for, is so critical. We really think we should be passing legislation which would truly cater to what the actual needs of students are, and those needs are for professionally trained personnel who have expertise in understanding the mental and behavioral health needs of students, and that's what 6029 does. So we urge passage of this bill, and we urge rejection of 5367. Thank you for your time. I'd be happy to take questions on those 2 pieces of legislation.
Thank you, Hannah. We really appreciate your testimony too. Okay. Next up. Okay, on House Finance, please identify yourself.
Hello, Mr. Chairman. It's Keith Oliveira from the Rhode Island League of Charter Schools.
Hi, Keith. How you doing, young man?
I'm well, thank you. I'm here to testify against, in opposition to H5193. For more than 20 years, our Rhode Island Charter Schools have established a proven record of providing high-quality public education opportunities for Rhode Island students and families. And our charter schools have expanded the landscape of high-quality public school options for Rhode Island families that Rhode Island families are seeking in record numbers. Rhode Island families, particularly families of color in our urban communities, are demanding more charter school opportunities that will prepare their children for the future. I believe that as legislators, you have responsibility to be responsive to this increasing demand and allow for greater opportunity. And H5193 would deny that opportunity. The primary function of, I believe, of the Finance Committee is to determine the expenditure of resources that best serve the public interest. And in making these decisions, you must ask, what is the return on our public investment? And I think that without question, the public investment in our charter schools have proven a positive return and have successfully benefited students and families in our communities. And investment in our charter schools has been both economically and academically prudent as mandated by law. And 5193 would prohibit further investment in what has proven to work for students, families, and Rhode Island taxpayers. Finally, Mr. Chairman, in the interest of educational equity, opportunity, we urge the committee to reject 5193. This legislation is not in the best interest of Rhode Island families who seek nothing more than to properly educate their children. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Oliver. Keep up the good work, sir. Okay, next up. You're on House Finance. Please identify yourself.
Hi, my name is Janie Segui Rodriguez, and I'm the founder of Stop the Wait Rhode Island.
Okay, you have a minute, please.
I'm the mother of two girls, a 12 and 6-year-old. I live in Representative Barros' district. I advocated for my oldest in Pawtucket Public Schools for years. She was a 5th grader who couldn't write a proper sentence and struggled with single-digit math. Once I transitioned her to a charter school, soon after she was diagnosed with an arithmetic disability and given an IEP, I was denied an IEP year after year at her traditional public school. She closed her writing gap in a year. If she waited 3 years, she wouldn't have an IEP today. 2 minutes, 1 minute, 30 seconds is not enough to convey the desperation families feel when they're advocating for their children's future and are continuously ignored. There is a historic amount of money coming to Rhode Island for education, and we are pitting low-income Black and brown students against low-income Black and brown students. Fix it. When you have a tangible path forward to improve the schools for our students, we'll be there to help organize and support it. In the meantime, don't stop us from getting our kids educated by any means necessary. We will continue to organize parents. We will continue to call on you to censor students. And by the way, charter schools don't have SROs in their schools because there is a world where you can educate Black and brown kids and not have police in their schools. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. We appreciate it. Okay, next up. You're on House Finance. Please identify yourself.
Hello, good day.
Yes, hello. You.
My name is Bernal.
Okay.
Yeah, my name is Bernal Richardson.
Go ahead, please. You have a minute.
Yes. My name is Bernal Richardson, and so this evening I am calling from the city of Providence. I am speaking tonight to express my strong opposition to the Representative O'Brien's bill, H5193, regarding charter schools. I strongly oppose this bill, and I am calling for our students to be given more opportunity. And I'm a parent, and I would like to see my community thrive. And so I am begging you to please oppose this bill and give our students in our community a chance to better education. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Hello, you're on House Finance. Could you please identify yourself?
Hola.
Hola.
Estás en el Comité de Finanzas. Por favor, ¿se puede identificar?
I think we may have been disconnected. I'm not sure. Are you on, sir? Ma'am?
Not yet. Go ahead.
Mr.
Okay.
Chairman?
Ye-
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, yes.
It's Bob Quattrochi. I would just like to be marked as recognized.
I recognize you.
Thank you.
I know you recognize.
Thank you. Present.
Rep. Barros is present also. I'm sorry. Okay. Okay, you're on?
Hello?
Okay.
Hi, I'm Linda Kane.
Okay, thank you, Linda. Please, okay, you've identified yourself. You have a minute, please.
Okay.
Ms. King, are you there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, you can begin speaking. You have a minute, please.
I want to know that for kids in Rhode Island will have access to child care program for everyone, not just for people on the waiting list.
I'm sorry, I can't understand what you're saying. You're testifying on this bill?
Yes.
Okay, and the waiting list? Okay, and your last point was?
I want everyone to have access to it. Everyone else, everyone that signs up can get access to be on it instead of on a waiting list.
Okay, I got it. Thank you very much for your testimony. I did get it. Thank you. Okay, next caller. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, you're on House Finance.
Buenas tardes, señora. Este es Carlos Tobón del Comité de Finanzas. Por favor, nos da su testimonio y luego yo lo voy a traducir. Y empiece, por favor, con su nombre.
Sí, bueno, mi nombre es Humilda Díaz y mi testimonio es a favor de las escuelas charter. Tengo 2 niños y los 2 niños asisten a 2 escuelas diferentes, a 2 charter schools y nada, para mí es lo mejor que puede existir. Las escuelas charter son excelentes, mi niño ya a sus 6 años sabe leer, sabe escribir y me siento muy satisfecha con las 2 escuelas. Es lo que puedo decir.
Muchísimas gracias. My name is Humilda Diaz. I have 2 children. They both go to 2 different charter schools. They are the best, they are excellent, and at 6 years old, my child can read and write. And so I'm in favor of this legislation. Muchas gracias.
Okay, gracias.
And thank you, Carlos. And thank you. Muchas gracias for your comments. Okay. Next up.
Jennifer Woods. Jennifer Woods.
Jennifer Woods.
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Jennifer. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you so much.
Okay, you're on.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Chairman Abney and members of the committee. My name is Jennifer Wood. I'm the Executive Director of the Rhode Island Center for Justice, and we work closely with student and family groups in the public schools, and I'm offering this testimony from that perspective this afternoon. I'm offering testimony on 3 bills. I'll do it all at one go and try and fit it within the time allotted because I know you have a challenging agenda. I'm offering testimony in support of Bill 6029 and in support of Bill 5211. I'm also offering testimony in opposition to 5367. They're all related around similar topics, and I'll offer my comments addressing all 3. We support the Bill 6029 as originally introduced, which would sunset support for SRO officers in the public schools and replace that with support for social workers in the public schools. We have worked with community groups in support of the Counselors Not Cops campaign, and the campaign is very simple and its name states its purpose, which is to expand resources for the social and emotional support of students in schools through expanding funding and access to counselors and not expanding nor retaining police officers in the schools. As such, my testimony on House Bill 5367 is in opposition to basically removing the sunset provision from that bill. And that's something that we oppose because we're looking to expand access to counseling resources and not retain officers in the schools. Finally, on Bill 5211, consistent with my testimony in support of expanding access to social emotional supports for students in the public schools, the funding for out-of-school time programs is entirely consistent with that, and we think it's critically important that that funding be expanded. That is my testimony in support of 6029 and 5211 and in opposition to 5367. I thank you for the time and attention you're giving to this critically important issue and wish you well with the rest of the hearing.
Thank you for all the good work you do, Jennifer. Okay, next up. Good afternoon. You're on House Finance. Please identify yourself.
Good afternoon. My name is Andrea Rupert.
Thank you, Andrew. You have about a minute.
Hi, thank you. I'm here to strongly oppose House Resolution 5193. My son was diagnosed neuroatypical, and that's all thanks to the charter school that he attends. I'm positive Gabe would have been expelled from any traditional public school because he was not diagnosed prior to attending school. Traditional public schools never would have created an IEP based on his social emotional needs. His academic studies were not lacking enough. I was instructed to get a lawyer by a school psychologist, not of my charter school. She said that never in a million years would her school offer an IEP when clearly it was necessary. I got a lawyer. The lawyer agreed that there would never be an IEP for my son. I would have to fight. The very next day I was on the phone and the first words out of the special ed teacher's mouth was, okay, so what do you want the IEP to say? Because he clearly needs it. Traditional schools do not have the ability to support all the students, especially special needs. I strongly oppose this bill.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your testimony. We appreciate that. Next caller. Good afternoon. Please identify yourself. You're on House Finance.
Good afternoon. My name is Tayla Foster. I am from the town of Harrisville, and I am calling in opposition of House Bill 5193.
Okay, go ahead, please. You have a minute.
Absolutely. I'm just calling to testify and say I'm opposing simply because, I feel like every student and scholar has a right to an amazing education, and without a charter school, my son, my third grader, he would not be where he is right now. He would definitely have failed already out of the public school system.
Wow.
Yeah, so I just, I'm hoping we can get everybody on the same page, and I hope everyone gets a chance to eventually get the same education at the charter school level, even in like a public school.
Thank you, Taylor. We appreciate your testimony. Thanks. Okay, next up. Hello, you're on House Finance.
Hi, Chairman Abney, members of the committee. My name is Jeremy Cipetta. I'm a Pawtucket resident. Rep. Barros is my representative, and I'm online today to express my concern around the charter school moratorium bill. By trade, I am the Chief Executive Officer and Superintendent of Blackstone Valley Prep, and very, very proud of our work to really try to change the trajectory of kids' lives by providing them an excellent education. And my hope is that every family in Rhode Island would have the opportunity to have an excellent education, whether it's in a traditional public school, a charter school, or any type of school. And I don't think this moratorium will help families get a great education. And so my hope is that this bill is not passed out of committee. And so I thank you.
Thank you very much for your testimony. Okay, our next caller, please. Hello, you're on House Finance.
Hi, yes, my name is Jennifer Moscow. And did I need to say anything else? I'm sorry, I missed.
No, just your
Do I
name
give my
and,
name?
just your name and if you oppose or you support the bill, and then your brief comment.
Okay, yes, I do oppose the bill, the H5193. The reason is I do believe in school choice, and I believe that everybody, no matter where they live, should have access to decent education. I do believe nothing's going to be fixed by trying to oppose this. If the education system, some of the people are not happy with the public schools, there's been plenty of time to fix it through the years. By putting a stop on the expansion of the schools, that is not going to do anything. The education problem should have already been fixed.
Okay, thank you for your testimony. We really appreciate that. All right. Okay, our next caller, please.
You don't have a call on the line right now?
We do not.
No, he's speaking. He's speaking with someone.
Okay, we're getting a caller on the line. It may be a translation issue. Okay, then we'll just go to the next person that's on the list. And while they're doing that, I'll just keep reiterating that when you do get on the line, please make sure your television or radio, whatever you listen to, is turned down so that we won't get a reverb here in the room. Thank you so much. Hello, you're on House Finance.
Hello, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, representatives. My name is Toby Shepard. I'm one of the founders of Providence Preparatory Charter School, or PVD Prep. PVD Prep was authorized last December by the Rhode Island Board of Education to serve students in 5th through 8th grade. Our school is scheduled to open this September in about 5 months with 126 5th and 6th grade students. Our school will grow slowly, adding 7th grade in the 2022-23 school year and 8th grade in the 23-24 school year until we reach just about 250 students over the next 3 years. We'll serve all students who register for our school, and we will provide a preference in our lottery for students who enroll at our school from the lowest performing elementary schools in Rhode Island. After our vote of authorization last year, our school forged ahead towards opening. We've entered into a long-term lease with a school building in the west end of Providence. We've hired about 75% of our founding staff members, and we received many more applications for enrollment than we have capacity to serve next year. Our school will run its public lottery tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. and begin to mail out welcome packets immediately afterward. The charter school moratorium would be retroactive in that it would reverse the Board of Education's vote last year. It would take away a new middle school option that we're prepared to offer families in the city of Providence this fall. It would cause us to lay off our newly hired staff, to default on commitments that we've made, and most importantly, to turn away families that have begun to enroll in our school. Thank you so much for taking my commentary.
Absolutely. Thank you for your comments. We appreciate them. Okay. Hello, you're on House Finance, please. Your name?
My name is Joe Marushek. I'm from East Greenwich, Rhode Island.
Thank you, sir. You have about a minute, please.
Okay, thank you, Chairman Abney, and good afternoon to everybody on the House Finance Committee. I am here to speak against House Bill 5193 as the co-founder and executive director of Nuestro Mundo Public Charter School, which was one of 3 charter schools that was granted initial approval by the Council on Elementary and Secondary Education of December of last year. When Nuestro Mundo reaches its full enrollment in 2025, it'll serve 414 Providence youth in grades kindergarten through grade 8. As Nuestro Mundo will feature a dual language immersion program, English and Spanish, for all students, Nuestro Mundo will have programming that has been shown by numerous research studies to be the most effective in raising the academic achievement of multilingual learners and also closing the achievement gap between multilingual learners and their native English speaker peers. House Bill 5193 is grossly unfair to proposed schools such as Nuestro Mundo that were already granted preliminary approval by Commissioner Infante Green and the Council on Elementary and Secondary Education. Approval of this bill would represent a retroactive active rejection of their legal authority to grant approval. Schools such as Nuestro Mundo have been in the planning process for well over a year, 2 years, and have undergone a rigorous approval process both from RIDE and an external reviewer to ensure that high standards have been met.
I don't mean to interrupt, sir, but you got to wrap it up.
Okay. I urge the committee to reject this because of the reasons that I've stated and just the simple fact that there is an educational crisis in our state. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for your time, sir. We appreciate that. Good afternoon. You're on House Finance. Please identify yourself.
Mr. Chairman, good to see you, members of the committee. My name is Michael VBAs.
Hi, how you doing, Mike?
CEO. Very good, thank you. I'm the President and CEO of the Rhode Island Public Expenditure Council. I'm here to voice IPEC's strong opposition to House Bill 5193. The public charter schools are one of the few bright spots in Rhode Island's K-12 system. Overall, public charter schools in Rhode Island remarkably outperform the statewide average from ICAS tests, despite that nearly 4 in 5 charter school students reside in Providence, Central Falls, Pawtucket, or Woonsocket districts that are among the lowest performing in the state. The differences in student proficiency between charter school students and students from the same city or town are staggering, with outcomes 2 or 3 times better than the traditional public schools. The primary argument against charter schools appears to focus on financing, yet the financial rules for charters, money follows the child, are the same as for any other student that may enter or leave a district. Yes, traditional public schools will have less money, but only in proportion to the number of students they are obligated to teach. And while there may be legitimate transition issues related to funding, there is time to address these issues with targeted policy changes, particularly with abundant federal stimulus funds now available, instead of destroying opportunities for students from urban districts to receive a better education. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Hope you're well.
Thank you. Hope you're well too, Mike. Okay, next up. This is House Finance. Please identify yourself.
Hi, my name is Martha Pineda.
Hi, Martha. You have a minute, please.
Okay, so good evening. My name is Marta Pineda. I live in Central Falls, Rhode Island. I'm testifying my strong opposition to regarding the Representative O'Brien's bill, H5193, regarding charter schools. I'm a mother of 2 children, pretty much a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old. I also went through the school systems in Central Falls growing up. Currently, I've been working really hard, and it just newly discovering like what charter schools provides opportunities, especially for like my daughter. I didn't even know they existed till I started, looking out for better opportunities for my daughter. During my time when I remembered I was in public school systems in Central Falls, I struggled really hard because English pretty much was a second language for me. I didn't know about charter schools at that time, but I definitely know now that they're definitely a bridge to help my daughter to get better grades in school and the learning opportunities, especially since she's Spanish speaking. But I just wanted to say that charter schools are very good and prepares kids for college from the start. So I definitely wouldn't want other kids to be waiting for a better quality of education. So it should be a priority right now, especially if we're a diverse community. So I please oppose that House Bill of 5193 and let our children pursue a high quality education that they deserve.
Thank you for your testimony. We appreciate it. Okay. Good afternoon. You're on House Finance. Please identify yourself. Good afternoon. You're on House Finance. Well, you were on House Finance. We're trying to reconnect. There we go. There we go. Good afternoon. You're on House Finance.
Hi, I'm Mary Claire Knight, a parent and resident of the City of Providence, a constituent of Representative Diaz. Good afternoon, members of the House Finance Committee. I am for House Bill 5211 entitled An Act Relating to Education. I feel we must support this bill to fund the expansion of out-of-school time in Rhode Island. Young people spend 80% of their time outside of school. We know the importance of having youth in structured learning opportunities during the afternoon and summer hours. In 2020, 58,942 young people in Rhode Island would have participated in after-school and summer programs if a space was available. Put another way, for every young person in after-school programs, right now, 3 more are waiting to get in. Meanwhile, 20,122 youth remain alone and unsupervised during the after-school and summer hours. Out-of-school time programming is critical to the recovery of Rhode Island's youth and families. We must expand out-of-school time programs to meet the sizable demand of our Rhode Island communities. My daughter Maxine benefited from an after-school program across the street from her high school in Providence. At New Urban Arts, she had the opportunity to be a radio talk show host, learn to sew, design and construct her own clothes, including her prom dress. Every day she told me about all the fun she was having, and I smiled. When she wrote a book of poetry during the summer program and wanted to share them, I smiled. Fun and safe space was really important to me. Yet more important was watching my child, who believed she would never be good in math, become confident in her ability to design her own patterns, make her own outfits, even participate in a fashion show in clothing she made by hand, and drew the patterns to create that.
And thank you for your
When she
comments,
told-
ma'am. You have to wrap it up, please.
Yes. We must support this bill to fund the expansion of out-of-school time and to support our young people who need 80% of their time outside of school structured. We all know the importance of having youth in structured learning opportunities, especially in places where this learning is a stepping stone to higher education, high-level wages, and the opportunity to improve their success and that of their children. Thank you, representatives, for allowing me to speak tonight.
And thank you for your comments. Okay. Good afternoon, your own House Finance. Could you please identify yourself?
Monique Halliday.
Hi, Monique. You have a minute, please.
Yes, I do. Oh, I'm sorry to speak myself. I'm sorry, I'm kind of nervous.
That's okay. We're nervous too. No.
I'm sorry. So yes, my name's Monique Halliday. I have 3 boys. I'm originally from Boston, and I moved out to Rhode Island. And I was introduced to have a testimony on this bill. I currently have 1 child. 2 children are enrolled in charter schools and 1 enrolled in public schools. And I am a huge fan of the charter school. I think that they are great opportunities for my children and any children that's out there. I believe that the process could probably be better as far as like having them enrolled, but once they're in there, I think it's a great opportunity, and that it should actually be expanded because it's such a great opportunity for kids to be involved in that chain and have the smaller classrooms and be more involved in that. I don't think it takes away from public schools, and it helps the kids grow and feel like they're part of the community on top of being in the public with their public school friends. So I am for the charter schools.
Thank you for your testimony. It's really appreciated. Okay. The next caller. Hello, you're on House Finance.
Buenas tardes. ¿Podría decir su nombre, identificarse, por favor?
Mi nombre es Irma Bennett.
Continúe, provea su testimonio.
Yo tengo 2 niños, uno de 4 y otro de 5. He estado esperando, para mí es muy importante que tengan esta opción de la escuela charter, porque yo he estado luchando por mantener, o por lo menos por poner a mi hija dentro de una de estas escuelas, y me está costando mucho porque lleva 2 años en lista de espera. Y cuando recibí la notificación de que esto no se iba a poder concluir porque lo que se había aprobado para expandir nuevas escuelas ya no iba a ser posible, y es lastimoso como madre
Sí, continúo.
ver esta situación que de pronto no va a seguir adelante. Mi petición es realmente que tomen una decisión sabia, una decisión donde enfoquen el futuro de los niños, lo que buscamos como padres para los niños. Buenas escuelas, que sean personas que den a la nación, no problemas, sino realmente ayuden al progreso de la nación, construyendo nuevas escuelas, que haya una enseñanza apropiada para ellos, que realmente puedan ellos salir adelante, tener un futuro mejor, hacer una nación mejor. Y todo eso se puede hacer a través de tener más escuelas, tener más oportunidades, no estar esperando.
Señora, perdón, ya pasaste el tiempo. Perdón por eso, ¿ok? Pero te van a traducir ahora en inglés, ¿ok? Muchas gracias.
Thank you for allowing me to be in the testifying at the Finance Committee. My name is Yilma Perez. I have 2 children, 4 and 5. I'm waiting for so long to register my kids in charter school, and sometimes it's very depressing to know that at this point we don't have any hope, because after wait 2 years I find out that we have this legislation that don't allow charter school to continue. It's very sad as a mother that we cannot continue to looking to register our kids. I'm supporting charter school because that is a great opportunity that kids can be better, and as a result we can have a better nation, we can have a better country. And I'm looking that we today put politics aside and be able to support charter school. Thank you.
Muchas gracias. Okay. Okay.
Buenas tardes, estás en el comité. Buenas, por favor, se puede identificar, está en el comité de finanzas y continúa con tu testimonio.
Buenas, mi nombre es Genesis Rivas. Yo estoy llamando para testificar acerca de mi experiencia en cuanto a mi niña que va a una charter school y mis sobrinas que van a public school. Mi niña está en 3er grado y le ayuda a aprender a leer a mi sobrina que va en su mismo grado, el cual no sabe leer, no sabe escribir. Pero aparte de eso me gustaría preguntar, si las escuelas charter fueran tan malas, ¿por qué la lista es tan larga? Otra cosa, si en realidad nosotros pensáramos en el futuro de nuestros niños, optaríamos por la mejor opción y nos detendríamos un poco a analizar la situación de las escuelas públicas y en cuanto a las escuelas charter.
Muchas gracias. My name is Janti Rivas. I'm testifying on my experience with my daughter and my nieces. My daughter, who's in 3rd grade, helps to teach my niece who's in 3rd grade, because my daughter could read and write and my niece can't. My niece goes to a traditional school. If she's like, I have a question. If these charter schools are so bad, why is it that the list or the applications continue to get so large or so big, the waiting list? So we need to look at public education and also analyze that situation. Muchas gracias.
Otra cosita ahí, perdón. El miércoles pasado hubo alguien que preguntó si escogíamos la escuela o si éramos obligados a estas escuelas. Escogemos las escuelas charter por la gran oportunidad que le brindan a nuestros hijos. Y yo creo que eso debe ser lo más importante.
Muchas gracias.
Gracias a ustedes
Gracias.
por permitirme.
And lastly, someone asked about if we choose the charter schools. We do, because of the great opportunity they present to our children.
Go ahead.
This is the woman who lost earlier.
Okay, you're on House Finance, please. Identify yourself.
Cristina Aguilar.
Okay, we have you back now, so go ahead. You have a minute, please.
Yeah, I'm just here because I want to see if you guys can change the law with waiting on the charter schools. I've been waiting for 3 years now. I have 3 kids. One is in 6th grade, the other one is in 3rd grade, and the little one is in kindergarten. So with the two big kids, I've been waiting 3 years, and with the little girl, I've been waiting 2 years now. So yeah, and I know I have smart kids in the system, the school system in Providence for public schools. It's not good at all. So I know I have smart kids, and I know they deserve better. They deserve a better future. So yeah, and that's why I'm calling.
Well, thank you for your testimony. We appreciate that.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Next up. Good afternoon. You're on House Finance.
Buenas tardes. Buenas tardes. ¿Puede dar su testimonio, por favor, y bienvenido?
Hola, buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Sonia Ávila. Soy de la ciudad de Pataque.
Continúe, por favor.
Estoy dando mi voz acerca de la ley que me opongo rotundamente. Lo que quiero es que ellos tomen en cuenta que los niños pierden muchas maneras de sobresalir, de resaltar en la educación acerca de ir a las escuelas charter. Yo en lo personal tuve que esperar 3 años para que mi hijo pudiera acceder a una. Pasamos mucho problema haciendo la aplicación cada año y fue muy impactante para mi hijo conforme a la educación que él recibía en las otras escuelas. A la escuela de charter tuvo que tener muchos support para él poder estar al mismo nivel que los otros niños. Entonces, una ley así le está cortando alas a nuestros niños de esta ciudad y de cualquier ciudad del estado de Rhode Island. Hoy en día hay muchos padres que cada año aplican y una espera más. Cada año es menos tiempo para que los niños se puedan preparar para tener un mejor futuro, para que ellos puedan decidir qué quieren hacer. Nuestros niños son la voz de nuestra ciudad, de nuestro pueblo, y creo que ellos tienen la oportunidad, y nosotros como padres y como legisladores...
¿Tiene que concluir, por favor?
Estoy en contra de la ley y me gustaría que esto no continúe para que nuestros niños puedan tener una mejor educación siempre, cada año. Muchas gracias.
Gracias a usted. Mi nombre es normal, the brain need to switch. Yes. My name is Sonia Avila. I'm coming from the city of Pawtucket. I want to offer my testimony this afternoon. I'm here in totally opposition to the Bill 5193. I would like to explain that I have 2 children, and I was waiting for more than 3 years to be able to apply and get my children on the charter school. I believe that is a great opportunity for kids because they able to shine, to be themselves, and to demonstrate all the things they learn. When we give this opportunity to children, we are giving voice to them, also giving the state opportunity that the kids can be a good citizen. So I'm here today in totally opposition of this legislation, and I would like to ask that you think of the children first. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Muchas gracias. Okay, next up. Hello, you're on House Finance.
Hello.
Could you just please give us
my
your
name
name? Okay.
Sure. My name is Sarah Wenzel.
Okay, Sarah, you're on for a minute, please.
Thank you. My name is Sarah, like I said. I live in Woonsocket. I am speaking tonight to express my strong opposition to Representative O'Brien's bill H5193 regarding charter schools. Rice Prep Mayoral Academy has given my daughter the opportunity to thrive despite having several learning and health challenges. Not once has she been made to feel stupid or like she can't do something. As a child, I struggled with learning disability. I was labeled as lazy and was called stupid by various teachers. These experiences made me resolve in my heart that should I ever have a child that needed help, I would fight to make sure they would get it. So when it became obvious that my child did need help, I prepared to go into that first IEP meeting expecting the same fight I had already had with my local public school, only to find that the teachers and staff of Rice Prep were ready to support my daughter in every way they could. They made sure my daughter did not fall through the cracks as I had in traditional public school, that they would work with us to make sure they were teaching and supporting my daughter in the ways she needed, every step of the way. And I know for a fact that our story is not an unfamiliar one. Countless families have found a refuge and safe harbor in their various charter schools for their children. Please do not let politics and numbers on the page make it so another child like me or my daughter to be subjected to a life of no choices and no options for a better future. Forcing children and families into an already broken and overburdened system by not offering another choice is not the answer. This moratorium will only increase the roadblocks for those communities hit the hardest with oppression and inequality. Our children, our future, deserve options. They deserve to go to school every day and learn in a way that fits them. They deserve to reach their highest potential. My children would not have the same opportunities in our local school district.
You have 30 seconds to wrap up, please.
Yep. I have one more sentence. This bill will do nothing but rub salt into an already festering wound. Please oppose House Bill 5193 and let our children pursue the high-quality education they deserve. It's time to stop the wait. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Good afternoon. This is House Finance. Please state your name and tell us what you're calling about tonight.
Hi, my name is Nicola Brennan, and I believe I'm testing in favor for one of the bills, which is H629. And then I'm also testing against another bill, which is, I'm sorry, one second. I believe it's around the allocation of money within the schools. H5367.
Yes, that's right. Is that it? All right. Thank you very much for your testimony. Good evening. You've reached the House Finance Committee. Please state your name, and you have 1 minute to testify on whatever bills you're calling on. You may proceed.
Hi, my name is Kristen Desir, and I am for the expansion of charter schools in Rhode Island. As a parent of two boys in a charter school, one in 6th grade and one in kindergarten, I find their experience has been fully enriched. If you had asked me back in 2014 if I was putting my child in a charter school, I probably would have said no. But upon looking for schools for my older boy back then, I realized many of the public schools weren't going to really serve his needs. So my husband and I agreed to sign up for a charter school. And being part of this community and part of this group, I realized it was the best decision I had ever made. Both my children are on IEPs for minor hearing loss and for their ADHD. And the charter schools have served them greatly in that regard. I don't think I would have gotten the kind of specialized services that
You have 30 seconds to wrap up, please.
Sure. and essentially, after having my child checked out, my older son, for neurological issues, the doctor who had run the test basically said he was in the best place, and we can't afford a private school, so the charter school was our best option. So please, allow more expansion so that other children can benefit from this. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your testimony.
All right.
Buenas tardes, bienvenido al Comité de Finanzas. Por favor, puedes decirnos tu nombre y continuar con tu testimonio.
Sí, mi nombre es Samira Decena. Soy en la oposición de la ley 5193. Mi testimonio porque mi niña ya tiene 3 años esperando por un asiento en la escuela y todavía no me han llamado, y yo espero que le den la oportunidad de que ella pueda entrar a la escuela. Gracias.
Muchas gracias. My name's Samira Visteni. I'm opposing 5193. My daughter has been on the waiting list for the last 3 years, and we still had no luck. So I'm hoping that this measure doesn't pass, so she has the opportunity. Thank you.
Gracias, señora.
While we're getting others on the line, I just want to take a couple of minutes to thank the staff who's working very hard and making sure this operation goes well, and then our interpreters who just doing an unbelievable job, Rep Diaz and Rep Tabone, keeping us in touch with the community that we have. And I also want to, as we go through, thank all of you who are calling in and helping us and sticking with the time that we have. I know a minute doesn't seem like a long time, but I want to thank you for staying as close as we possibly can so we can get as many people in as we want to.
Yep.
Okay, we have the next person on line, please. Thank you. On House Finance, please identify yourself.
Sí.
Okay, you're on. You have a minute, please. Okay.
Buenas tardes. ¿Puede continuar con su testimonio?
Sí, dígame. Es que no le entendí muy bien al principio qué fue lo que me dijo.
Está en el Comité de Finanzas y tiene la oportunidad de ofrecer su testimonio. Diga su nombre, de qué ciudad viene y puede empezar a hablar.
No le estoy entendiendo. ¿Como testimonio de qué, perdón?
¿Por qué razón usted llamó y ofreció su nombre?
Yo ya no llamé. ¿A qué número?
She's so confused. She think somebody called her. She don't know what she's doing here. So I think we need to move to the next testimony.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Muchas gracias. Okay. The next caller, please.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, we're ready for him. Thank you very much. You're on House Finance. Please identify yourself.
Marlene Birch.
Hi, you have a minute, please, for your testimony. Go right ahead.
Yes. Okay, I just want to say I'm very happy with my kids being in a charter school. I feel like my daughter was in a regular public school, and since she started in this school, the difference is She has learned a lot. They take stuff more serious. And, I would love to have the opportunity of having them in the charter school.
Okay, thank you very much for your testimony. Waiting for the next caller. Okay, I think we're getting one coming up right now. Good afternoon. Welcome to House Finance.
Good afternoon.
Just please identify yourself, and you have a minute, sir.
I'm sorry, I can't really hear you.
Please identify yourself, and then give us your perspective. You have about a minute to do so.
Oh, okay. My name is Santasha Seawright. My son Makai Downing goes to a charter school, and I have also a 23-year-old that I know the difference between a public school education and a charter school, which I feel that they follow my morals and integrity, and I'm totally for charter schools. I think every child should have a right to a good education.
Well, thank you for that testimony. We appreciate that.
No problem. Have a blessed day.
Have a blessed day yourself, sir.
Ma'am.
Hello, welcome to House Finance.
Hi, I am August Dunbar, and I am calling to oppose the bill 5093.
Okay.
And the main reason why is because of the results. I grew up in the public school system, and I have a lot of friends who didn't make it. So, look, it's all about results to me. My kids are in charter school, and they just perform better. It's just about the performance. I don't even feel it's about all about the money, what they offer, because before I went there, I wasn't really for charter schools too much. But after having my daughter there for a few years, I realized it's the discipline, the structure, the order, those unseen principles that are making it work. And so I feel it would be a sad thing if the bill passed and the expansion was stopped if the private public school still did not compete. I believe that the charter school will still outperform the public school system whether they have money or not.
Thank you for your testimony. We really appreciate it, sir. Thank you. Okay, good afternoon. You're on House Finance.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, sir. Just please identify yourself when you have a minute.
All right, thank you so much, Chairman Abney, and members of the committee. Thank you for your time. My name is Joey Fink. I'm a Providence resident and the kindergarten and first grade academic dean at AS Illuminar. I'm testifying against House Bill 5193. I love my school, and the kids of Illuminar love our school, but I want to focus on a couple topics. First, this bill is unfair to the schools who have already been approved to open next year. School money has already been spent on building staff and other costs. If this is about money, we should not waste money on schools that were operating on a legitimate approval from the state of Rhode Island. This bill does not allow our kids to stay together as a community through middle and high school. Our current sixth graders, who were the highest achieving third graders in the state of Rhode Island on the RICAS, 80% meeting or exceeding expectations in ELA, and 76% in math, want to stay together as a community throughout their educational journey. They have built such great bonds with their teachers and peers, it would be unfair to them to split them up because the school will not be allowed to add seats in the Illuminar middle school or transfer their seats in the high school. Please do not approve the charter school moratorium, and I'm excited to send my kids to Achievement First in 4.5 years when they start kindergarten. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much for your testimony, sir. We appreciate it. Okay, next up.
Hello.
You're on House Finance. Just identify yourself, please.
Hi, my name is Estella Rodriguez. I am from Rhode Island, and I stand on the law 5193 of the moratorium of the charter school. I have the right to choose what my children go to.
Okay, thank you for your testimony. We appreciate that.
You're welcome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I need a translator.
Okay. Hola.
Hola, buenas tardes. ¿Puede decir su nombre y la ciudad de donde nos está llamando?
Sí, mi nombre es Estrellita Gómez y estoy llamando de Central Falls, Rhode Island.
¿Puede continuar con su testimonio?
Sí, bueno, yo estoy en contra de la H5193 porque verdaderamente para mí ha sido una gran bendición la escuela charter, no solo educacionalmente, sino que le han enseñado a mi hijo a formarse con valores, le han enseñado muchos valores, le han enseñado desde un principio a tener el sueño de ir a una universidad, él sueña con ser un profesional. Y eso es gracias a que la escuela, los maestros le han apoyado mucho en todo lo que él ha hecho.
Muchas gracias por su testimonio. Mi nombre es Estrellita Gómez. Yo soy... I love it. My name is Estrellita Gómez. I'm coming from Central Falls. I am calling in opposition of House Bill 5193. And the reason is because the charter schools are a blessing for family. I have a great experience to have a child in the charter school who has the opportunity to, through the teachers and the classes, to create a great values, moral standards that will help him to become a good professional, and also because they instill in my child the desire to continue college education. So I'm here to oppose House Bill 5193. And you know, I have a problem to switch the language in my brain, so I apologize, Chairman.
No, you're doing a great job. It's great to be multi and dual language like that.
And I continue with the language I'm writing. You know?
That's true, and we're having a good time trying to serve the public. It's difficult, so sometimes we get a little giddy. But okay, you're on House Finance. Please identify yourself.
Yes, hi. My name is Joel Hellman. I want to thank you, Chairman Abney, and the committee for this chance to testify on this issue. I speak opposed to the moratorium on charter schools. You've been hearing a lot of the similar stories. I'm going to do it a little different. I fostered 22 children. I adopted 4, and the youngest children I adopted were declared mentally retarded from the public schools that they were in. They got moved around, and 4 schools failed to pick up on the fact that they were not mentally retarded. When they finally came to me in the 5th and 7th grade, respectively, they were so far behind it was terrible. They were not mentally retarded, as was proven, but they had an older brother who was, and because of that, they were diagnosed also. When they got to Barrington schools, we were told that there was no way they were going to be able to catch up and graduate. There were no charter schools to send my children to from Barrington. So I pulled out of the school, and he got an internship in a restaurant. And the other one, after waiting a year, I got him into the Met, and because of his scholarship in the Met, he got a job as the furniture assembler. He makes $65,000 a year, and his brother makes $18 an hour. Their older brother is institutionalized and costs the state $100,000 a year. In 30 years, this family would have cost the state $6 million. Instead, you've got 2 taxpayers. You have 2 taxpayers paying into the system. You're all number crunchers on the Committee for Finance. How much is that money worth? I thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for your information, sir. We really appreciate that, and take care of those kids. Okay. Hello, you're on House Finance.
Yes, hi, Mr. Chairman. It's Rick McAuliffe. How are you?
Hi, Rick. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Good to hear your voice. I'll be very quick because I know you have a very long night. I'm just calling on behalf of the YMCAs. We represent the YMCAs in the state of Rhode Island, including the one in your district, the Newport YMCA. And we also represent the Rhode Island Association of Child Care Directors, as well as the business owners of child care. And we are in here today in support of Representative Casamaro's bill for an appropriation for after-school programs. for our children in our state. Obviously, the last year has been disruptive for everybody, but no more than children. And last year, the YMCA's and the child care industry and so forth did the best they could, making sure that we're COVID compliant, and we made sure that we were safe. And to do that, we created programs that worked. Unfortunately, we wanted to make sure we had the necessary distance between children, camp counselors, and so forth. So we really had to cut back on the amount of people that could participate. Year after year, there are waiting lists for people to get into summer camps and enjoy the opportunity to both educationally and emotionally and obviously physically develop through these camps. And we had to limit it last year. So we're hopeful that we can begin the process of getting people back to the full amount we used to have. We're also hopeful that those who have been on waiting lists can enjoy an opportunity to be in summer camps as well. Representative Casimiro has been a champion for children and after-school programs. Really hit the nail on the head on this piece of legislation. We believe that the more money that's appropriate to this will give the opportunity for the YMCA's and the child care industry, and actually small camps that are in the many people on the committee's districts that run camps during the summer. We'll give them enough money to have apparatus and new programs to run. So we ask for your support on this, and if there's any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer.
Thanks. We'll keep up the good work with the Boys and Girls Club. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Buenas tardes, gracias por participar aquí con el Comité de Finanzas. Si puedes decir tu nombre, de qué ciudad estás llamando y continuar con tu testimonio.
Ok, mi nombre es Jamie Hernández y estoy llamando de Providence. Bueno, yo me opongo rotundamente a la ley 5193 porque sería muy triste que se acabaran las escuelas charter. Bueno, yo como madre tengo 3 hijos, uno en cuarto, primero y el octavo, y esas escuelas, wow, mi respeto, son muy buenas y ayudan a los niños a pensar en el futuro, y es por eso de que mi corto testimonio, yo estoy muy pero muy rotundo en contra de la ley 5193. Eso es todo.
Muchísimas gracias. My name is Jamie Hernandez. I'm calling from Providence, and I'm fervently opposed to this bill. It would be sad for charter schools to end or be reduced. I have 3 children, 1st grade, 4th grade, and 8th grade. Charter schools are excellent schools, and they have our children really think far into their future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, next caller. Thank you. You're on House Finance. Just please identify yourself.
Hi, my name is Hallie Fakwa.
Hi, okay, you're on.
Hi, yes, I chose to speak on this because both my children attend. Their school is due to grow up till 8th grade, so right now they're only at 5th grade, and my son's in 4th grade, my daughter's in kindergarten, and I would really want their school to still be able to grow because I do not want my children to attend a public middle school. So.
Okay, well, thank you for your testimony. We take everything into consideration. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Good afternoon. You're on House Finance. Please identify yourself.
Hello, my name is Courtney Jacobs. I'm a resident of Pawtucket, represented by Barrow. I am a mother of 2 children in a Rhode Island public charter school, and I have worked in public schools as an educator in cities all over the country for the last 20 years. I'm here to express my strong opposition to House Bill 5193. Having worked in urban school districts all over the country, I can tell you that there are not enough schools serving our most marginalized families and students well. These are largely black and brown families who are also facing economic hardship. Yet in Rhode Island, we do have some of these schools that are serving students and families well. We have examples of schools making notable gains with students in these very demographic groups, and the reality is many of those are charter schools. Given the track record of success and innovation in so many of our Rhode Island charter schools, why would we want to choose to limit those high-quality options in favor of a moratorium that guarantees no change for students and their families? Decisions about schools should be made by the communities those schools serve and by professionals who have a deep understanding of the issues and history of education and education reform. You have a governor, a mayor of Providence, the Rhode Island Department of Education, a Columbia professor, and countless families and communities that are most often served by charter schools telling you loud and clear that they do not want this moratorium. You should not ignore their voices or their wisdom. Our families and children deserve better. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for your information. We appreciate it.
Buenas tardes, bienvenido al Comité de Finanzas. Si puede dar su nombre y la ciudad de donde nos llama.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Ingrid García. Estoy hablando de Central Fork.
Continúe con su testimonio, por favor.
Ok, yo estoy muy contenta con las escuelas charter. Mis 3 hijas van a esas escuelas. Son muy buenas, tienen muy buen aprendizaje, los maestros son muy atentos, se mantienen comunicándose con uno. De verdad que es un gran honor que mis hijas estén en esa escuela, ya que es muy diferente a otras escuelas, que ya tuve la experiencia de que mis hijas estuvieran en otra escuela, y estas escuelas son muy buenas, las recomiendo. Estoy muy feliz de esas escuelas.
Muchas gracias por su testimonio. My name is Ingrid Garcia from the city of Central Falls. I am very happy with the charter school. My daughters are attending to charter school, and I'm very happy for it. The teachers and the staff are very connecting with the family, and I feel very honored that my daughters are attending to charter school. So I'm opposed to House Bill 5193. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, ma'am. Okay. Next caller. Hello, you're on House Finance. Please identify yourself.
Hi, my name is Shani Jimenez, and I am against the wait list.
Okay, please proceed.
Okay, I'm calling because I would like to state my testimony. So I have a daughter. She attends the Providence School, and I placed her in a waiting list since the 2nd grade. My child attended a public school since kindergarten, and she has been below average. I am a mother who basically lives alone. I work very hard, and I don't really have the extra time to put in the effort for my child to basically read and do her schoolwork, but I try to maintain. And basically, it's very frustrating because my daughter, she's not really receiving the basically the help she needs to excel. And parents like me want our children to, excel and actually do really good in school. She hasn't been doing well, and she is at a 3rd level math skill and 5th grade reading level. And I would really love for them to basically stop the wait list. It would definitely be helpful. I am a parent who I'm in the process of getting my master's degree, and I really want my daughter to go above and beyond because I feel like it's very important.
Thanks for your testimony. We really appreciate it. Good luck with your master's.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm. Next caller up. Hi, you're on House Finance. Please identify yourself.
Hi, Jasmine Gomes.
Hi. You're on for a minute, please. You can give your testimony for about a minute, please.
Okay. I agree to the testimony. I'm not sure if I am at work right now. I wish I had more time to talk. But I think it's unnecessary. And I agree with the testimony.
Okay, well, thank you. And thank you for calling in from work. That shows a lot of patriotism you have. Good luck now.
No problem. Thank you.
You're welcome. Hello, you're on House Finance.
Hi, this is Davina Large.
Oh, hi. How are you?
Good.
Okay, you're on for about a minute, please. Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to make my statement that I am in opposition of the moratorium for charter schools. I believe that families should have a choice where they send their students. My son goes to a charter school and he's really benefiting from his education there. And I think other families would as well.
Thank you for your testimony. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Next caller. Hello, you're on House Finance.
Hello, how are you this evening?
Doing well, sir. You have about a minute.
Okay, yes, so my name is Dana Lesperance. I live in Lincoln, and thank you for taking the time to hear my thoughts on the bill, and thank you for all of you for your service to the state of Rhode Island. I would just like to speak in brief opposition of the bill. I think that it limits choice for families and students, and based on personal experience of my wife and I with my two children as scholars at Blackstone Valley Prep, I think it has offered them a great opportunity to learn in a rigorous, in a different type of way of learning that has been really beneficial to them. So I believe that limiting sort of limits that choice and those opportunities, especially in communities where or families where they can't afford a private school, and I think that the work that's being done in the charter school is innovative, and it's something that could be certainly adopted throughout all the curriculums throughout the state. I think they're moving forward in the right direction. They're making positive change for students and families.
Thank you for your testimony. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Good afternoon. You're on House Finance. Please identify yourself.
Yes, my name is Wadi Hernandez.
Hello. You have about a minute, sir.
So I was just,
You still on, sir? I can't hear you. Okay, we'll try and get you back because I think we lost you. We'll see if we can get him back in the queue. Again, as we get the next call up, I want to continue to thank all of you who are calling in, helping us with the time limits that allows us to get more and more people to give their perspective. So I thank you for that. Okay.
Buenas tardes, bienvenido al Comité de Finanzas. Por favor, si nos puedes dar tu nombre, de qué ciudad llamas y continuar con tu testimonio.
Catalina Minaya, de Central Falls, Rhode Island.
Puedes continuar con tu testimonio, por favor.
Sí, lo único que yo podría decir es que a mí las escuelas charter me gustan para mis hijos. Tuve la oportunidad tengo 3 niños, pero lamentablemente nada más tuve la oportunidad de que nada más fuera una a esa escuela, pero me siento hasta ahora bien segura con ella y asistiendo a esa escuela. Y quisiera que esa escuela charter school siguieran como hasta ahora.
Muchas gracias. My name is Catalina Miraya from Central Falls. I'm calling because I like charter schools. I have 3 children, but unfortunately I could only get 1 child in, and she's doing very well. Gracias.
Thank you for your testimony. Okay. Our next distinguished caller. Good evening. You're on House Finance.
Good evening. I will just be very brief about these bills. I think it's important to have social workers in schools, so I appreciate the funding provided in House Bill through 9. But I also want to say that the bill for to continue funding school resource officers, House Bill 5367, it's a bad idea. I think there are too many. I understand that having school resources officers can help in rare cases when there is an unusually severe danger to the school, but that's extremely uncommon. There's also having school resource officers in schools tends to encourage the officers to follow their criminal justice training, which is what they've spent their whole career doing, instead of following approaches that are better for children who are not really suitable for a criminal justice approach. There have been many cases across the country where, and in Pawtucket as well, where resource officers have been too rough with students. In many cases, school resource officers have arrested students who really didn't need arrested discipline, or even have arrested school employees. I think there's not been enough study of how to take care of disciplinary problems without overuse of the standard policing approach towards students who are really too young and tender for that. If you start using the standard policing approach to students who are young and tender, it ends up treating them in a way that's too aggressive and may push them into even more of an antagonistic stance. And usually police officers don't mind antagonizing people when they have to arrest someone or have to deal with someone who's defying them. But students are more tender, and that can have a really bad effect on them if they perceive that they're on the wrong side of the criminal justice system. And I'm sure other witnesses have spoken about that. So I think we should not be rushing to extend funding for something that has a lot of bad side as well as possible good sides. And I think more study is needed about the merits of school resource officer before blindly approving funding for something which is, for good reasons, very controversial. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your testimony, Randall. Good luck to you. Okay. Good afternoon. You're on House Finance. Please identify yourself.
Hi, thanks so much. My name is Jennifer Hopgood.
Okay, Jennifer, you're on for about a minute, please.
Thanks so much. All right, so if you are a parent of a school-aged child, contrary to the apparent popular belief of our state Senate, it did not take a pandemic to highlight the failings of the public school system in the state of Rhode Island. That being said, my son's first school experience was indeed during this pandemic, and it absolutely shed even more light onto the importance of continued parent choice and school choice. I've spoken to many parents and I've read many articles about the learning loss that kids have experienced during the pandemic, but thanks to our charter, Rise Prep, serving both the urban and rural communities that I live and serve my own patients in, my son is a testament to the power of individualized instruction. We have not shared the same school experience as many of our friends in the public school setting. Our son is thriving in the setting we chose for him, and I've never been more sure of a choice as a mother. I get frequent personal feedback that's on or above target all grade level standards. They've designed their system to include our family in his learning team and include me and my voice in his journey through the school system. And I am forever grateful that our zip code has not been a barrier to his academic success. You cannot put a price on that. I want this for other families and for my younger son who will soon be entering the school system as well. Please oppose House Bill 5193 and allow us as parents to allow our children to pursue the high quality education they deserve.
Thanks for your testimony. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Good afternoon. You're on House Finance. Please identify yourself. Good afternoon. Are we connected? Okay, let's go to the next caller. Good afternoon. You're on House Finance.
Hi, my name is Crystal. I oppose Bill 5193.
Thank you. I appreciate
I'd
that.
like to thank you for letting me give a testimony. I myself, 2 out of the 4 of my children have served time in traditional school system. I have tried to advocate for my son by hiring advocates, which I paid out of pocket to attend IEP meetings to support me and my options as a mom. I can't sum up everything that me and my 2 boys have experienced educationally and physically in traditional schools in 1 minute, but I can say that I begged for help in a statistically failing school system. Achievement First, which is the charter school that my kids attend, have never been looked at for their learning disabilities as a waste of time or money, but instead as an asset to their school. It shows that there is no learning disability that's not worth learning about and supporting both teachers, parents, and scholars. My son is 13 years old and he's struggling to close a 3-year gap, while my son, 9, who is a first-time scholar, entered at a kindergarten level and is now at a 3rd grade level with kids his own age. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your testimony. Good afternoon. You're on House Finance.
Hi, good afternoon.
Yeah, just please identify yourself when you have about a minute, ma'am.
I'm sorry?
Please identify yourself when you have about a minute for your testimony.
Yes, my name is Yolanda Montero, and I'm from Providence, Rhode Island.
Okay, please continue.
Okay, yes, my name is Yolanda Montero. I have a 10-year-old who's in 5th grade. I have been on the wait list for charter school since my son was 5 years old. And I also have another 2-year-old. I have a 2-year-old who will be in kindergarten in 3 years. So, I really want you guys to, to stop the wait, because it's very important for me, and I stand very strongly for this, because I came to America when I was about 8, 9 years old, and my mom not knowing much English, and I having a lot of family members that can help me and guide me to be more successful in life than I am right now. I struggle with school tremendously, and even after high school, I continue struggling. I'm 32 years old now, and I still struggle. I have 2 kids, and I don't want them to go through the same struggle I went through. I don't think any parents want that for their kids. I think every parent wants the kids to be successful and to be happy in life. I think by stopping the wait, you guys are not just only helping my kids, but you guys are also helping the community. You guys are helping the world. You guys are opening more doors for future doctors and lawyers and artists, and the list just goes on and on and on. I wish there was more I could do to help people see how important this is. These are our kids' future that we are holding back.
Thank you. Your testimony helps us. We appreciate that.
Okay.
Okay. Next caller. Hello, you're on House Finance.
My name is Stephanie. I live in the city of Providence, and I'm here to testify my strong opposition to the bill H5193 regarding charter school. I have a daycare, and I'm also a mother, and I feel really sad that my son has to be in waiting list for charter school. I think that we should have more opportunity to have high quality learning, and that's why I'm opposing this bill. I think all the kids should have the opportunity to have high quality learning opportunity, and I think we should have more charter school. And charter school is the best opportunity for our kids, and we can have that opportunity to have the choice to pick and choose what's best for our children. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Okay, next caller. Good afternoon. You're on House Finance.
Hi, good afternoon.
Please identify yourself, and you have about a minute, please.
Okay. Good evening, Chairman Abney and members of the House Finance Committee. My name is Khadija Lewis Khan. I live in Middletown, Rhode Island, and I I operate Beautiful Beginnings Child Care Center, a child care center in Providence, Rhode Island. We have about 70 children, pre-K children that graduate from our program each year and transition into kindergarten in Providence. And I am speaking tonight to express my strong opposition to Representative O'Brien's bill, House Bill 5193. I believe that charter schools are an important tool for families in Providence to have school choice. Many families cannot afford private school, and they need programs that may have smaller classrooms or specialized instruction and a little bit more flexibility with the curriculum that they offer and how they tailor it to the families. So please oppose House Bill 5193 and let our children pursue the high-quality education they deserve.
Thank you for your testimony.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. You're on House Finance.
Hello, my name is Alexandra Garay. I'm calling to testify in support of House Bill 6029 and House Bill 5367. I think it's extremely important for us to invest in more social workers and social services for our students in school. I myself am someone that dropped out of high school not without having enough support due to a mental health crisis, and I strongly support us being able to fund more social workers in our school system. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. We really appreciate it. We're just waiting on the next caller to come online at this point. And I do appreciate my colleagues who are hanging in with us tonight. Thank you very much, all of you. Sometimes connecting is not an easy task. Let's just go to the next one if we have another person online. Anybody?
Not right now.
Okay.
Momentarily.
Momentarily. We're shortly at ease until we get another person online. I think some of the people online whose numbers we have don't want to testify now, or they're not there, so that's understandable. But we'll keep going until we get to the next one who says, yes, I'm ready to testify. We have a connection. Hello?
Hello?
This is House Finance. Would you please give us your name and a brief introduction? We're trying to make sure that there's no language difference in some of the hellos that we get. Am I still connected to the last person they called?
I don't think so.
Okay. Rep. O'Brien says, are we done? I doubt it.
Buenas, bienvenido al Comité de Finanzas. Por favor, si nos puede dar su nombre, la ciudad donde llama y continuar inmediatamente con su testimonio.
Ok, me llamo René Chacón, vivo en la ciudad de Central Falls. Sí, yo me opongo a la ley porque para mí las charters han sido de mucha ayuda para mis hijas. Yo he visto que el aprendizaje es mucho mejor, el bullying se combate más, no hay menos, o sea, hay bullying pero hay menos, y para mí sería una muy mala decisión terminar con las charters.
Muchas gracias. My name is René Chacon. I'm calling from Central Falls. I'm opposed to this bill. My daughters, this has been great for my daughters, of great help. There's also been less bullying, and I've seen the difference. Gracias.
Thank you for your testimony, sir. Muchas gracias.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Buenas tardes, bienvenido al Comité de Finanzas. Por favor, dar su nombre y la ciudad de donde llama.
Odilia Reyes, de Providence, Florida.
Perdón, ¿podría elevar un poco su voz? No lo oigo.
Odilia Reyes, de Providence, Florida.
¿Puede proceder? ¿Cuál es su nombre de nuevo?
Odilia Rodríguez.
Por favor, proceda con su testimonio.
Bueno, que a mí esa escuela me parece una excelente escuela, porque mi niño en el 2019 para el 2020 estuvo en otra, pero la verdad que ahí yo no vi nada de progreso de él.
¿Es todo su testimonio?
Sí.
Ajá.
Y siempre en esa escuela siempre se mantienen comunicada cómo va el proceso, sus estudios, si van bien, van mal, y siempre les brindan la ayuda que realmente necesitan ellos.
Muchas gracias por su testimonio. My name is Odilia Rodriguez. I'm calling because I believe that the charter school is offering excellent opportunity for children. My son was in the school, traditional school, from 2019 to 2020. I didn't see any progress until my son was attending charter school. I'm very pleased with this charter school because they provide good services. They connect with the parents, and they provide excellent opportunity for children. So I'm opposed to the moratorium House Bill 5193. Thank you.
And thank you for your testimony, ma'am. Okay.